show you today some no-stress distressing techniques using tools from Close to My Heart's Distressing Kit. Let's take a closer look at the artwork we're going to create today. On this project, we'll be using the distressing ink, stippling brush, edge distresser, and sanding block. Starting with our card base, using desert sand cardstock, we're going to create an embossed frame on the front of our card, measuring in 1/4 inch from each of the edges. Remember not to go past the center of your card or you'll have an embossed line on the back of your card. This is a fun technique. Now we're going to be using distressing ink, however you could sand this as well. You'll want to repeat this process with a piece of 3x3 Colonial White cardstock. This nifty little tool is our edge distresser. You'll notice there are blades in between each one of those fans. With this tool, you'll have greater control while distressing the edges of your cardstock. It's much safer than scissors, and it's more cost-effective. When one edge dulls, simply use another. In the kit, you'll find a sanding block with 4 sides with varying degrees of grit. The sanding block makes sanding a super simple task. Using a piece of cardstock, mask off a section of the Colonial White cardstock so that it remains untouched. Then, using desert sand and the black stubble tool, create a texture on the Colonial White cardstock. You'll see that this is almost like paint splatter, more of a staccato effect. Now, using the stipple brush and the desert sand ink, layer the textures. The stipple brush provides a softer texture while still allowing the black stubble tool texture to show through. For our inner and outer images, we'll be using outdoor denim. You'll notice that I've mounted both stamps to one block, making stamping faster, especially if I was doing multiple cards at one time. Using desert sand, stamp the inner ring. Notice how simple it is to line up those stamped images. We're going to have some fun with the distressing ink that comes in the kit. It comes in both chocolate and black, and it's a chalk ink. It's a perfect size to do these little techniques that we're using it for here. We're simply highlighting that raised embossed line that we created earlier on in the project. One great thing about chalk ink is that it'll be more subtle when it dries. Now we'll create the tag that goes on the front of the card. Simply snip off one corner, flip it over, and use it as a guide to snip off the other side. By doing it this way, you'll find that you'll have a perfectly balanced tag. Then you need to sand it so that it matches the other pieces. Using the silent setter, create a hole. What's nice about this is it really is silent. You can do this while your kids are sleeping and nobody will know. To give the appearance that you've actually tied all the way around your tag, simply cut your piece of ribbon just a little bit longer than your tag. Then, using tape, tack down each side to the back of your tag. You can then tie your bow directly to that ribbon. This will not only conserve your ribbon, it's also a whole lot easier than trying to tie all the way around your tag. Often, when trying to tie around something, you end up with a loose ribbon and a floppy bow. To adhere all the pieces, I'm using Close to My Heart's Bonding Memories glue. What's great about Bonding Memories glue is that it's both permanent and temporary. Adhere while wet and it's permanent. Allow to dry so that it's clear and it becomes temporary, like a post-it note. The piercing tool is probably one of my most favorite tools. Here I'm using it to poke holes in the corners of my frame and also in the center of my design. These pewter brads are the perfect finishing touch, and they're so easy to add. Slip each brad through a hole, flip over your project, and bend open the tongs. They really are easy. Finally, we're ready to assemble the card. We'll add our tag first, and then using 3D foam tape, we'll pop up our focal image to add depth and interest. I love Close to My Heart's Distressing Kit and the results I can achieve with it. It's a must-have for any crafter. Check back in soon for upcoming videos on how to use additional tools within the Distressing Kit. Until then, visit my website at createwithchristine.com to purchase your own kit and start having some fun.